Good evening to you. It is Tuesday, February 17th at 9:15 p.m. Purdue got the early slot tonight on NBC Sports, Peacock, whatever you want to call it. So I'd say a medium stage for a big game. Anytime you have two top 10 teams in the nation playing, there's a pretty good set of eyeballs on it. But the game started early, 6:30 today, Purdue had a 9-minute period that just killed them. I think that's the whole story. We'll talk about that here in a second. Before I get too far into the game, let me thank my friends at Home Field Apparel. Head over to homefieldapparel.com. Grab a T-shirt, a sweatshirt, a retro jacket from my era, hat, a Gene Katie Play Hard hat, jersey. They got it all. They got a lot of things there. Warm-ups. We got some warm-ups from the 1980 Final Four team. Pretty cool. Or something from another team. Doesn't matter. Homefieldapparel.com. And also, when you're at Mackey Arena and you're a little bit down in the dumps because your Boilers have lost by 11, what do? Well, you head towards the fire station. You need to pick me up. When you get to the fire station, turn left. Go into those blue and black lights. Head in, order some burgers, some beef, and a pint. Burgers, beef, beer. That's AJ's. At the bottom of your pint, you probably get a Purdue or a Boiled Sports Magnet if it's game day. And you're going to get the best service on campus. AJ's are great. EatAJ's.com. So I'm not, I didn't need a cool down, in case you're wondering. YouTube just wasn't working. So I wasn't alone. 300,000 YouTube workers, 300,000 YouTube viewers couldn't get on YouTube. And so I haven't been able to watch any post-game press conferences, any of that stuff, and because everything was down. So while I was waiting to get everything done, couldn't do my setup either, which takes a few minutes if you've ever streamed on here. But so I wasn't trying to cool down. Michigan's a really, really good team. I think they're the best team in the nation talent-wise. Their 9-man rotation is really, really good. And if Purdue was going to beat them tonight, they needed a nearly perfect effort. Not a perfect effort, but a nearly perfect effort. Instead, they had a 9-minute period in the first half that really defines the entire game. From 13 minutes left in the first half, Purdue had a 1-point lead. And then at the 4-minute mark left in the first half, Purdue was down by 20. That's the whole game. That's it. During that time, Purdue couldn't get shots up. Purdue couldn't hit layups. They couldn't hit wide open shots. And it absolutely killed them. Smith was completely taken out of the game, and you can credit to many things, but Michigan's length, their athleticism, their defense is excellent. It's as good as advertised. But also, on top of their defense being really good, Purdue gave Michigan so many open looks, and they took advantage. Guys came off the bench and knocked down threes. So Michigan played better. Michigan is the better team, and Michigan proved it today. That's pretty much the whole story. The interesting thing to me is that past Purdue teams, there would be a lift at Mackey, right? So they would play better than themselves because of the energy that was in there. I think the energy is still there, but this team isn't that way. They don't react to that. And for positive or negative, they're just kind of an even keel team. And today, I thought Purdue could win today because I think they're due for a game where they have that lift, just because we haven't seen that all season. And I was wrong. I didn't publicize it. I didn't go and say, yeah, Purdue's going to win. I just felt like they could win if what I thought would be the key was TKR having a big game, which he did, but he had a really lousy first half. Statistically, he looked good, but Michigan was giving him looks. It was almost like they were choosing their poison, and they were saying, okay, we're going to give Kaufman-Renn looks. And he was getting layups. He was getting stuff 15 to 13 feet away where he was missing that teardrop. And he wasn't alone. A couple other guys were missing layups too. Clough missed a couple layups. And that wasn't – the layups are a lot – it's funny. An open look might be open look from 15 is easier than a layup when a guy who's 7 feet tall with a wingspan of 7'6" is all over you. And Michigan's length killed Purdue. Purdue has struggled versus Iowa State, who has great length and great athleticism. They struggled versus Illinois, great length and athleticism. Even UCLA has good length. IU does not fit the profile of the teams that Purdue's really struggled against. But the problem that Purdue has is they're going to play teams that are like this in the tournament. Again, the Big Ten regular season titles off the table. There's no way. Michigan is running away with this thing right now. I think they have 1 loss in conference. Purdue is now at 4. So there's 2 or 3 teams. I think there's 2 teams tied with 3 losses, and Michigan State has 4 losses right now. Purdue has 4 losses. So you got to kind of reset your expectations for the Purdue team and hope the guys just keep fighting. The big thing, because I've had a couple friends text me, what do you go from here? Well, I don't think this game is the thing that is the nail in the coffin in the season at all. What I think it is a shift of expectations, and that, okay, now you're knocked off the 1 line. Absolutely, right? To get to the 1, though, they need to win out. And that the chances of that happening were pretty long. So now that the 2 line, I think, is a long shot. Even if you rip through the rest of the Big Ten season, which I don't think they're going to. And that's a problem for me, because I just don't think this team is dynamic enough to do what the Carson Edwards team did, which is have somebody just catch fire and carry you. When you play teams that are really, really athletic and good and long and well coached, they're going to give you fits. In the NCAA tournament, everybody's throwing their best haymaker, so you need to be a higher seed to try to make a run. That's the whole story for me. That's the hardest thing. The sky isn't falling, nothing like that. Michigan beating Purdue is not the end of the world, because I think they're the best team in America. I think they're better than Arizona, too. I've watched Arizona play quite a few times. But if you really go back, even to this has just been a struggle the entire time. Really long, really athletic teams are a struggle for this Purdue team. Let's look at the stats, shall we? Purdue loses 91-80. Like I said, they dropped their 4th Big Ten game. They're 11-4 in conference, and they're 5th on the season. They're 21-5 on the season. Kaufman-Renn really played. Here's the thing. We've watched Purdue play where they were kind of floating through games, and that wasn't this. Michigan made things difficult on Purdue, and Purdue just didn't have the ability to get around it. Like I said, the athleticism and size of Michigan was just a problem. From Lindenberg he has very long arms. Morris Johnson is a big dude. Mara is big. He's 7'4". And then Burnett's not small either. They just have guys that are long. Off the bench, they have a couple guys that are pretty long too. So Purdue struggled with that. They were in Purdue's passing lanes, and on the other side, Purdue was couldn't handle the screens again. You've heard this before. Purdue has a problem, clear problem, leaving guys open because they don't know how to handle screens. But it was the corner today. Today, Michigan was just bombing from the corner, especially in the first half. The guy who did most of the damage was, Kason. Kason was only 1 for 1. Trey McKinney was 3 for 4 from 3. So he was the guy, I guess. On the other side, like I said, Kaufman-Renn, 27 points, 12 boards. He played his ass off in the second half, especially. Super inspired brand of basketball. Great to see. He was attacking the glass again. And without him, Purdue was getting really worked on the glass. I think they were down by 7 boards at the half. Michigan's bench points, it was 14-2 to Purdue. There's your whole game. Purdue hit their free throws, but they didn't go to the free throw line until 22 minutes into the game. Now, that's dog shit. There's no doubt about that. I don't care how well-controlled Michigan is and how much they're taking the fight to Purdue. They play aggressive defense. They foul. And for Purdue not to get to the free throw line, that's not the reason Purdue lost. Purdue lost because Michigan's that much better. They're just that much better. But Purdue goes 90% from free throw line. 3-pointers were a problem today. Purdue finishes the day shooting the 3-pointer 31%. Lawyer was decent, 2 for 5 from 3. Smith was 2 for 6. Smith finishes with 20 points, 6 assists, but again, that ratio, 6 assists, 3 turnovers. That's a problem, but he did have 4 steals. And again, the effort from Lawyer, all Purdue, effort wasn't the issue today. And if you say that this team wasn't fighting, I don't think you were paying attention. Dudes were selling out. They just were struggling with Michigan's length. Oscar Clough struggled. CJ Cox struggled mightily. He was so quiet for much of the game. Daniel Jacobson couldn't do much when he came in off the bench. Bender made some impact plays, but again, they just made it difficult on Purdue. That's all there's to it. Omer Meyer was very effective for about 4 minutes in the first half, and it was when the game was teetering. It was more than teetering. It was leaving Purdue, but Meyer was very effective. He had 8 points and a pair of assists. Anybody else to write home? Fletcher, he ends the game with 11 points, 4 boards. His rebounding is kind of clever. He does some things that they're all based on position and understanding where the ball's going to come. Because he's, especially when he's playing a team like Michigan, he's outmatched physically. So no problems with effort. And that's why I think the part of the reason I'm not angry at all about this game is Purdue was busting their ass. Michigan is that good. But you just can't take 9 minutes off. You can't do that. And where we are, because Michigan's that good. The thing that a lot of Purdue fans probably, if you weren't already here, I told you my perspective on the season changed after the Iowa State game. I'm still there. I'm still at that position where I'm like, this team just isn't what I thought they were going to be. Is that an awful thing? No, they're a solid team. They're still a top 10 to 15 team, right? I think they are by any measure. The problem is those truly elite teams, the 3 to 5 teams in America that are really good, and then it looks like Arizona and Michigan are really the 2 best teams, right? I know people put Duke up there, but Duke is one guy that's awesome, and Shire, I think, is not a good coach, so I'll just wait for them to collapse in the tournament, and I'll be okay with it. But Arizona has a coaching problem too. To me, it looks like it's Michigan's thing to go win. The question is, I don't know. I don't know about Michigan's mental makeup as a team. I've heard people talk about that they don't care about things. I don't see that in their body language. They look like they bust their ass. They were today. So what are you gonna do? Brad Eban's here. He says first. Marshall Briggs, hey Dowd, how are you? Greg Manis, how are you? Boiler Bugle said, a lot going on tonight, so I missed the whole thing. Missed the whole game. That's rough. Jeremiah Easterbrook says, evening be Dowd, awful showing from Cox and Harris. Refs screwed us bad on top of rebounding. Yeah, what was the final count? Let me look at that one more time. Purdue got out-rebounded by 8, but they were out-rebounded by 7 in the first half. Like, the damage was done in the first half. M3 Adjuster says, hate the defense we played that left man open in the corner 3. The whole first half, right? And then Michigan came back in right away in the second half, hit a 3 in the corner again. I think Painter was trying to choose his poison. The problem Purdue has, the problem Purdue fans have is the adjustment of expectations right now. I think that's the toughest thing. And if you've already been through it like me, it shouldn't be heartbreaking or bother you too much. But every time Purdue gets a chance the Nebraska game was pretty awesome for 30 minutes or 25 minutes, where Purdue absolutely just pistol whipped them. But a lot of that was because Nebraska didn't shoot well either. Nebraska's still trying to get off the mat. Right now they're playing Iowa, another team that Purdue left in their wake. It's 13-11. Nebraska's up right now. So, but Nebraska is not Michigan. That's the thing. Michigan State is not Michigan. Michigan is the best team in the conference, best team in the nation. So they put together a team. They bought players, and they are awesome. They're great. The roster is great, top to bottom. Brad Evans says, thank God Indiana didn't fire Woodson a year early and hired Dusty May. Can you imagine? He's unlikable for me. That's one thing that would be fine. But I don't think it's as simple as Dusty May. I really don't. I think that this roster makeup is really good. Dusty May's a good coach, but the roster is incredible, and he's a good coach. So, yeah, I would have no problem hating Dusty May at IU. So, Race Johnson says, I think I'm just going to be happy with the Sweet 16 appearance. I can get my hopes up again. Just bad for my heart rate. I'm sure you're in pretty good health, Race. Yeah, I don't. Here's the thing. I don't think anybody should write the season off. I don't think anybody should overreact. I just don't think. I don't think it makes much sense, especially if you're older than 35. And I think you are. You're right around there, maybe 30, 35, right in there. Sorry, Race. But I don't think you're doing that. I don't think you're overreacting. But there are people on Twitter, shocker, that do overreact, and there's just no need for that. Here's the thing: sun rises again, regardless of what happens in the postseason this year, and I am excited about next year already because they'll have a chip on their shoulder. That team will. I wish this team had more of a chip on their shoulder at times, but today I was really happy with the fight. I don't want moral victories, and I'm not going to say this is a moral victory. I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to say I'm not going to overreact to a loss. That's it. Let's see. JJC Boilermaker says, love the second half effort. Just too much of a deficit to overcome. Michigan looked better overall team. Reminded me of the 2024 National Championship versus UConn. Yeah, and there's a good comparison there because their athleticism and their length was such a problem for Purdue's guards, right? Cox, Lawyer, Smith all really struggled with Michigan's length. Really struggled. And Fletch Lawyer, I think, had a really, really hard assignment to guard Lindenborg. I think he guarded most of the game, and Lindenborg went 5 for 12, had 13 points. Not bad, not bad. For a lot of Purdue fans tell me that Fletch Lawyer is not worth a damn on defense, but it's pretty solid effort for a guy that talented and that athletic. Nick Cristiano says, crowd seemed elastic. We just dug too big. Elastic? We just dug too big of a hole in the first half. This Michigan team reminds me of 24 UConn. Yeah. You guys are right. I liked what I heard from the crowd. It's hard to get up when you're down by 20. It's like the Iowa State game. I was in Mackey for that one. It's really hard when a team's kicking you on the ribs to stay up. So, yeah, electric. There you go. There you go, Nick. Sorry. See, you corrected it. Sam Hageman says, in a weird way, we can thank TJ and Dusty for showing Purdue where they belong in the pecking order. Makes expectations a bit more realistic. There's a lot of truth there. The funny thing is, Iowa State has absolutely come down to earth after, just crushing Purdue. But both those teams just look so much better. And Illinois, the way they finished the Purdue game, showed me a lot of how good of a team they are. Illinois is going to have a problem with their depth in the tournament, I think. But they still, just like those other two teams, their length underneath the basket's pretty noteworthy. And the guys are good athletes. Flying Bikes says, can't stand NIL. Pre-NIL, this Purdue would be great. Love this team. Love what the program stands for. My head is still up. Boiler up. Yeah, so I was going to do a podcast in reaction to Pierce, the signing. So here's the thing. Painter clearly likes to go after guys that are either grads or are going to grad soon. That's in the NIL. That's what he likes to, or the portal, pardon me. Sorry for putting those words together. So Paint likes to do that. But that's an NIL signing, right? It's similar to the old grad transfer rule, but it's definitely advantageous for Purdue. Purdue spent money on Pierce, I think. And I think he's a good get. He's a good get for Purdue next year for a lot of reasons, but the biggest one is who he beat to get, who Paint beat to get him. To beat Gonzaga and Duke for a recruit and UConn, that in itself made my day. So I think Pierce is going to be really good. I think he's what this team needs. They need a power forward next year. They need a guy who can do a lot of different stuff. He can shoot and he can finish around the rim, but that's an NIL signing. So yeah, I understand your perspective. I agree. I think the sport's a mess right now. I think all college sports are a mess. Michigan used it very well. The question is, if you're going to be a part of it, okay, Purdue is going to be a part of it, clearly. They're collecting checks from the Big Ten network money. You have to adapt. They have to adapt. Michigan has very deep coffers, though. That's the other thing. It's not just so much, and I think you're probably hinting at this, it's not so much just players getting paid. It's the fact that it's the Wild Wild West and there's no regulation. And so the lid comes off, and if you've got deeper pockets, you're probably going to get a guy going straight up. And Michigan's not afraid to spend money, and they've got deep pockets. There's no doubt about it. So is it good for the sport? No. In the long run, it's really bad. And the thing that I said a long time ago, I said it 2-3 years ago, talking to you guys, I said the hard thing is I love college basketball because the relatability, right? Guys going to my alma mater, saying they're student athletes, that sort of thing, I still dig that. The relatability is going away quickly, right? If you have guys coming on 1-year mercenary players, Michigan, that whole starting five is going to be in the NBA next year. Looks like to me. But I think 1 or 2 were carryovers, right? So having a bunch of guys that come on for a year and you sign them and then they're gone, the charade of us like falling in love with these guys and being like, all right, that's a Purdue guy. That's the thing that's going to be harder. Are we going to BS about that? Or are we going to be real about it and just say, okay, it's just pro sports. We like Purdue because we're from this area and we happen to go to Purdue too. Soon, in the not too distant future, I'm sure academics, that ruse, that mirage will be removed, and they'll say that's just kind of a perk. If you want to be an employee, then you can also go to school here. But it's already fake. It's already a fraud. Now, many of the schools, Florida last year, if you heard their players talk about after the classes that they had to catch up with, I saw this interview. It doesn't matter to many schools. I hope it still matters to Purdue. I really do. If you're going to say they're at the school and they're students and they're going to leave with a degree, I want them to go to class. And so I've got gold-colored glasses on this thing, and I sound naive, and I guess I'm going to be naive. Boilers 012 says, good evening. Rough stretch in the first half for the good guys, which decided the game, not the end of the world. UM is clearly the best team in the country, but cannot have a 9-minute stretch as bad as Purdue did. Right on. Impat says, 1 seed is out of the question. Agreed. But the ceiling still remains, in my opinion. Braden just has to be Superman each time Purdue plays an elite team. It's asking a lot. Especially where teams can sag off him if somebody else isn't looking for the shot or isn't going to create, because what they're going to do is they're going to get in his way in multiple ways. You're going to have the guy on him, and he can beat 1, and he can even maybe beat 2. But when you have all the passing lanes taken away by the length of these guys, I don't know what Smith can do. So you have to have other guards really making them pay. And Purdue today couldn't even get in. They couldn't run stuff, and this is on the coaches too, right? They weren't running stuff that created space. They weren't getting the ball to anybody else. And that was, again, that's a credit to Michigan, in my opinion. So, yeah, Brock Stepler says, loss sucks. Big Ten title was never going to define this team's season, no doubt. Only March will. Move on. Root for a deep run in March. Andrew Nelson says, honestly, I think we have had a real chance against them. Main issue, I see the defensive closeouts. Have to fix wide open threes. No doubt. Adam Warsow's here. He says, the million timeouts called TV review, etc., seemed to suck the wind out of Mackey. Felt like a momentum swing and stopped every time. Okay, so in the middle of Michigan's big run, there was a flagrant foul review called by May, and they ended up calling the flagrant on Oscar Clough. So that was one huge delay, right? The thing is, I think they show us the video that the refs are seeing. I did not see enough to get a flagrant foul. I don't even know. What I saw is Mara hooked Clough. Clough goes on the ground. Something happened when he was on the ground, clearly, because May was pissy about it, which he gets that way. And he demanded satisfaction. And then he got the flagrant called. It was pretty pivotal, though, because there were a couple moments in the game where it felt like Purdue might, in the second half it happened again, where they might make a game. But yeah, momentum was lost by multiple things. The reviews and the TV timeouts make it unwatchable almost. And when you're already kind of fighting through a game where your team's getting their ass kicked, that starts feeling a bit like the NBA for me, where you're like, okay, another stoppage, right? And that's your point. That's no fun, Adam. I agree with you. J Tent says, gave up 14 second chance points in the first half. Yeah, boy, it's a great point. 11-point loss. That's your game. Yeah, the second chance. chance points and third chance points, oh my gosh. And if you watch some of them, because there's one that I remember specifically, the ball hit the ground and Mara picked it up. And I'm like, where are the bodies? There's nobody even near the ball. So either A, somebody's being held, or B, the effort sucks. And I don't know which one it was. You got to go break that down to tell me what was going on. But that one specifically bothered me because I think it was the third chance Michigan got, and they hit the three in the corner again. So, yeah. Let's see. Greg Mitchell says, no doubt Michigan will win regular season, but no doubt Michigan will win. No doubt, no. If Michigan shot 2% over their average and said 20 over their average, just that, we win. 9 minutes where you just let the game go. And it wasn't any one thing. It was everything. Michigan was absolutely dominant at that point. Absolutely dominant. They shot better than Purdue. In that 9 minutes, they shot better. They rebounded better. They got to loose balls. Their defense was better. Purdue didn't have an answer. And their bench was better than Purdue. So everybody was getting involved in that failure. Let's see. Beater Jung says, Beater Jung, I know you've explained it to me once. I apologize. Still need to appreciate that this is a very good team that is fun to root for. Absolutely. Elite Eight is what I'm seeing, the ceiling. Going to enjoy this remaining ride of our seniors. And I saw the other day, good point, I saw the other day somebody on the interwebs, like CBS Sportsline or somebody, predicted Purdue to go to the Elite Eight. And I think he was trying to make a shot like, wow, Purdue's not going to go to the Final Four. I think most Purdue fans would love to see an Elite Eight. For me, it's like, if you can, I mean, if you can get to that second weekend, right? Just let me enjoy. And I mean, that puts you in getting to Sweet 16, but get to the Elite Eight. If you can get to that second weekend, the tournament feels so much better to me. Just because I get a couple of days to enjoy the froth of the NCAA, right? So, but yeah, I can understand everybody's gaze has shifted a bit. Ed Albany says, we're not dynamic enough. Also, as much as I like Fletch, I was surprised by his air ball. He had a couple really bad shots. I know what he's trying to do. I think he's saying, I'm going to keep shooting regardless. He had one on a fast break off of a steal. Smith had a steal. He gets up the court. His feet weren't set, and he either barely grazed the rim there, and it killed momentum because Purdue could have cut it down to, I think, single digits at that point. Instead, Michigan came back 5-point swing. He did it another time where he bombed one from the top of the key, and he was forcing. I don't have a problem with Fletch shooting. Fletch should keep shooting, and Fletch will get hot. But those two shots specifically, Purdue should have pulled back. I think what he sees, this is a basketball IQ thing. He sees that when Purdue got in their half-court offense and they set up and they let Michigan set up, they were toast. And I don't know why Purdue didn't try to take advantage every time they had a potential transition that they turn up the pace, but they didn't. And so I give Fletch some credit for actually trying to make something happen without Michigan set up because half court Purdue was screwed. So Quint Bessing says, Bessing says, tired of hearing length and athleticism for years. Painter wanted length and athletic. He would recruit it. No doubt. I think that's fair. I think there's some funny thing is they had some length and athleticism and the guys transferred out. I would say Heidi and Colvin were both longer and more athletic. Did that help Purdue? Were they given chances? They were. I think Benter is also a pretty long and athletic guy. He's 6'6". He's going to be moved to the 3, I think, next year. I think he's better suited at the 3. I know a lot of Purdue fans think he should be the 4. He's a pretty good athlete, and he played kind of a combo guard in high school. He played point sometimes. He played wing, but yeah, he's a pretty long and athletic guy. But they need athleticism. I agree. Pierce is a pretty decent athlete for a 4, so that's going to be good next year. But yeah, and he's pretty long, so he's. The problem is, if you're dealing with a team like Michigan where you have, I think they had 7'4" and 7 foot right next to each other, and the guys, Johnson specifically, can run the court really well. I don't think Mara runs the court all that well. He's a lot like Daniel Jacobson, but more skilled. Mara is right now as they stand. So both of them have huge upside, Mara and Jacobson, in my opinion. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. Let's see. Nick Harden says, loss feels so different from the other four. Michigan was clearly better, and Purdue fought like hell in the second half. Hopefully they can find another gear come March. I agree. There are only so many Michigans. When I say only so many, there's one. There's one Michigan. And I think that's why this one doesn't hurt as bad. Iowa State, I still think Purdue can play Iowa State and beat them. But I would like Purdue to play Iowa State in the round of 8 in the NCAA tournament. That would be a dream for me, because I said that the other night. That would be a good chance to right some wrongs from decades ago for me. But yeah, Michigan is a special team physically, very special team. Let's see. Karen Grulock says, are any of the Michigan players going to actually graduate? Yeah, they got a couple guys coming off the bench. I would think so. I would bet Roddy Gale's going to graduate. But Roddy Gale, if I were an Ohio State fan, I would hate that guy. Remember, he transferred from Ohio State. So I don't know if Cadeau's going to graduate. I think he will. And I think Burnett will graduate. So I think there's a couple there. Will Shitter will. He's still there. He's in year 100 of his time at Michigan. Greg Manis says, if private equity gets involved, then pack it in. Collegiate athletics will be dead. Private equity is already involved in a couple places. The question is, does it get involved in the Big Ten? You saw that Babinski wanted the Big Ten to bring in private equity, and that deal fell apart. I'm still hoping it doesn't come about. So, by the way, Ohio State is up on Wisconsin. That's good. Anytime Wisconsin can lose, to me, that'd be a pretty big upset, because Wisconsin's a little hot right now. So 18 minutes left, plenty of time in that one. Let's see. Sorry. Ryan McKay says, yeah, they were just a little overmatched, but the effort was there. Missed a lot of bunnies. Yeah. I think if they don't, let's pretend for a second, they don't have a 4-minute drought from scoring, and they don't have 9 minutes where they just peed down their leg, right? Let's remove that and just say you play decent, not well, not toe to toe with them. You got a fighting chance, but they didn't. That's the thing. Like I said, they needed a nearly perfect effort to beat Michigan because of the differential in talent. I mean that. And they got not even close to that. So I don't know. It depends on where you are, your glass being half empty or whatever. Okay. NZ Esser says, trying to keep positive. I still think this Purdue team is legit and can beat anybody on any given night. But man, if we lose to IU, the vibes are going to take fast. Yeah, that'll be rough. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think they got the effort back where they need to. I don't think there's any reason to believe that they would have lost to IU at Assembly Hall if their effort was there. And it's a shame that was a problem, but it was a problem in Bloomington. IU earned that game. Purdue's effort was dog meat. So I think Purdue has plenty of chance to prove what they really are. The real Purdue can stand up. I think they're a really good team. I heard somebody on the broadcast of the game, the UCLA-Michigan State game, saying there are a lot of Michigan State fans that are down the dump because they have 5 losses. Well, Purdue has 5 losses. It's all about perspective. Michigan State weeks ago thought they were a national title contender, or they were one of the best 5 to 7 teams in America. They really weren't. They just had a couple good games. So Purdue starts out the season number 1, right? So if you want to say who should be more angry, preseason rankings don't mean much, right? They're fun, especially when your team's on the top of the ranking, but it doesn't mean much, right? It's when you earn the ranking as the season goes on. That was pretty awesome. Alley-oop from about, 35 feet by Michigan State? Probably Dakar, I couldn't see. Downtown Indy Boiler says, I'm oversimplifying this. Michigan shoots the 3 like they normally do, and we win this. Purdue, this is what happens. Purdue fans, let's all understand this. When teams get hot at an unusual way, it's because Purdue's defense sucks. Purdue's 3-point defense is atrocious at times this year. And so part of the reason good teams capitalize on that is because you can't leave good teams open. I know we don't think that happens as Purdue fans, but guess what? Maryland left Purdue open, and Purdue bombed on them, right? They opened up the Bombay doors. So when your defense is really lousy, your three-point defense is really lousy, and when you don't understand how to handle a screen, don't know if you're playing drop or going over the top of it, right? It creates problems. When guys aren't on the same page on a defense, it creates problems. So good teams. Michigan is a very good team. We've covered this ad nauseum. I've said enough. I've been respectful enough. But Purdue gave them the floor, right? So that's on Purdue. That's my point. So, yeah, if they don't shoot the lights out, what's their final percentage from three? Yeah, they shot, is it 57% from three. It's really, really good. Really good. How many times have we seen that this season? 4? It's not just coincidence, boys and girls. It's because Purdue's defense is lousy. Let's call it what it is. Evan7030 says, do you think Obermeyer is the guy for next year? When you say the guy, I don't know. I need to define the terms. Do I think Obermeyer is going to be really good? Yeah. I think he's already really good. I think he'll be better at defense with his eyes open coming into what he has to get. I think that's why he came to Purdue. His defense, when he came in, was bad. His defense now is serviceable. His defense next year could be really good. But if you're old enough to remember Etwan Moore as a true freshman, that was a guy that could not defend. He couldn't defend. And I'm not revising history. He couldn't. By the time he was a junior, he was a great defender. Now, I don't think Obermeyer's plan is to stay here at Purdue for 3 years. I think he wants to go play professional basketball after 2. Do I think he's the guy? I don't know about the guy. I think Purdue's team next year is going to be really good. There are going to be a lot of guys contributing. I love Harris and Cox next year having bigger roles. I think Weber is going to be really, really good. Luke Ertl's a badass dude. Okay. He had like 28. I think he had 28, 7, and 12 the other night. It's a high school game, but those numbers sound like a Braden Smith type thing. And he's got a chip on his shoulder, which is awesome. Then you got the Pierce kid coming in, and you have Antoine West, who is, all accounts say he's awesome in practice. And I'm missing somebody still. Oh, yeah, Juan, who is going to be very different looking big. And then you've got Burgess coming back. I hear Burgess is good. So does he need to be the guy? No, he doesn't need to be the guy. That's my point. So I think he's going to be good. And I think there's room for him to be the guy if he blossoms into that. Right now, I don't think he looks like first team All Big Ten next year. No, I don't see that. So if he's not first team All Big Ten, then you say, does he come back again? So that's the next question. So Nunya with a trope that I don't like, saying Clough is hurting the team. The reason I don't like that is Clough just had a good game. Was it last game? This is the thing, Purdue fans, let's be smart. We all have good memories. Because a guy doesn't play like he's all conference every game doesn't mean you throw him out. I mean, I don't understand this sentiment. And I've been hearing it all year this year. Guy is not very good and be like, he's not cutting, he hurts the team. Yeah, put him in a cannon and fire him into the sun. I don't think that way. I like Clough. Tough matchup. Tough matchup tonight for about any team in America. As it turns out, tough matchup for Clough too. So, yeah, 2 games ago, Clough was awesome, right? I think that's right. Come on. It's not that long ago. Let's see. MSP says, if you're a smaller mid-market pro team fan and a Purdue fan, sports are getting pretty disheartening these days. Yeah, but so if you're a mid-market team, let's say if you're a Pacer fan, they went to the championship last year. Again, I don't, that's a pretty fun run, wasn't it, guys, girls? That was a fun run. Purdue went to the Final Four 2 years ago. It was 24. I mean, we're not that, I mean, I know the internet age is like, what have you done for me lately? Has to be right now. Yeah, you're not going to be great all the time. Purdue was number 1 in the preseason for a reason, because they're pretty good. And they're still pretty good. 5 losses is not the end of the world. 4 conference losses is still a pretty good season. I mean, Purdue has won conference championships with 4 conference losses. So, yeah, let's keep our heads, keep our wits. Yeah, D. Nels, good point. Shocked by how much difference Mara made. Is this what it felt like playing against Edie? No, it's not. Mara played last year and he was not very good. Mara now has gotten a lot better, but Mara is also flanked by another 7-footer. I can't stress the importance of that. An athletic 7-footer next to a 7-footer, really tough because you have to choose which guy you're going to really try to body up. So TKR is going to guard one of them, right? No, Mara is not Edie. He is not Edie. And his numbers show that he is not Edie. So, yeah, Baba Booey said Purdue just never made the run the good teams make at home. That's the best point. It's the best point. And that's that kind of emotional rocket fuel that you hope a team will have. Jerry Huff says, it was fun to see Edie and Gene hanging before the game, 2 all-time greats. Yeah, thank you, Jerry, for bringing that up. Edie showed Gene to a seat, which is really cool. Katie, I think, has a cane right now. He's doing pretty well, getting around pretty well. He's getting up there. But I love seeing that. And there were a lot of Purdue players there. Lance Jones was there tonight. There were other guys there. Hummel was on the game. Love seeing that stuff. So a lot more fun, a lot more heartening when it's a win, but I still love seeing that stuff. Marshall Briggs says, being optimistic here, boys can now just focus on March, no more distractions. Just focus on the next game. That's the thing. I would love these seniors to say, just take it one game at a time. And the season is almost over. Take it one game at a time. There are some big games coming up right here in the next week. So IU and Michigan State, big games. Those are both big games, both at home. So do some damage. Yeah, MSP says in Cincinnati, it's sports hell. Yeah, that's different. And I have a friend who's a big Bengals and Reds fan, and yeah, it's tough. It's tough. So I can understand that. But again, MSP, who I don't know your name, I'm sorry. 24. They went to the championship in 24. Literally, for me, I got to tell you, I that was such a big deal to me. I'm good. I want them to win a championship. I never thought they'd make a Final Four after some of the things that had happened where they'd gotten close and just blown the whole thing up. And that matters to me. That was a landmark thing. Guess what else that did for me? Unlike some of you, and I mean it, I don't understand it, I had people talking shit about Painter today on Twitter to me, and I'm like, you think you're going to get reciprocity? You think you're going to be saying, yeah, he's bad. Sean May's better. I'm not going to. Dusty May, sorry. Dusty May's better. I'm not going to say that. I like Painter. I'm glad he's at Purdue. Really glad he's at Purdue. I'm very glad Matt Painter is the coach of Purdue. Yeah. Andrew Nelson, good point, says, have to just turn the page. Keep the same fight they had in the second half. Exactly. There are lessons to be learned there. So I think I'm at 40 minutes. I'm at 42. So EFIZ says, tough one. Good effort from TKR. Yeah, interesting to see DJ open the second half. I think it would be okay. I've said this. It's not the end of the world. Again, like if you said, oh, we're going to start Jacobson instead of Clough, that's not writing a guy off. That's just saying this matchup. I mean, I think it's okay to move the starting lineup. Paint, for some reason, now does. He thinks that he literally put a ring on his finger with all these guys, and you can't move a starting lineup. It's not the end of the world to do that either. So, yeah. No, Doug, I'm not saying give Michigan the national title. I'm not going to read the rest of the comment, but they're a very good team. They are clearly the best team right now. Here's the thing. There's a ton of basketball still to be played, but the length of time is not much, right? So is Michigan... Here's the thing. If Michigan's peaking or they're not, they're still really talented. Can you imagine having a Purdue team that had 3 guys picked in the lottery? And I think Michigan's got that. I don't know much about the NBA, but I do think Michigan has 3 lottery picks. So at least 2, right? Maybe I'm out of line. 3 guys that are going to be picked in the first 2 rounds? Absolutely. So I would say Johnson, Mara, Luxembourg, those guys are great. So they got others too. So yeah, Karen, I saw that. Ohio State is now up by 12 with 13 minutes left on Wisconsin. So gotta love that. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Next up, Purdue hosts IU, and is that right? Is that on Friday, or is it Michigan State? Yeah, host IU on the 20th. So on Friday, I think that's Friday, 8 p.m. So Shake the dust off your sandals, get back to work, boys, and go beat IU. Pretty simple. That's what you do. That's when you lose. That's what you do. Get up next game, go play it. So hammer down. God bless you. We'll see you soon.